Do you have a desire for something more in your Christian walk? Do you have a hunger for the deeper things of our God, whose name is Yahweh in Hebrew? Be encouraged, be inspired, be informed as you search out the truth. As it relates to the Christian and Hebrew history of our faith in Jesus, whose name is Yeshua in Hebrew, Dr. Larry J. Pratt and Rabbi Paul Todd will share the scriptures in our Bible that God said are forever and apply to all Christian believers. These scriptures will reveal the constitution and nature of the soon-coming kingdom of Yeshua, when he rules as our king on earth. In Matthew 25, there are 10 virgins who are called the bride of Jesus Christ, and they are righteous. But only 5 have enough oil. And what did Yeshua, Paul, and others intend for Christians to do when they said, "Follow me"? Is this a reference to the bride of Christ? Get your coffee, get comfortable, and hear a right now word of God of how Torah, or God's teaching and instruction, is to be written upon our hearts. This biblical wisdom will illuminate our Christian walk and help us to be the salt and light that is forever and has never changed. Learn the blessing prayers of Yahweh over his bride and our children and our grandchildren for greater blessing, such as protection, healing, revelation, and answers to many questions.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I want to welcome you all to Yeshua Sabbath Church on this beautiful Sabbath day. The rain is good for us. Remember, it's good. It's a blessing. Rain is a blessing.
Amen. Thank you.
Everything we do is, or show here, is going to be used within the fair use doctrine. Please shut off your cell phones, except that one. We don't want to go through the startup on that one again. Got it? Our resident expert, Alex, she's got it together. Okay, remember that the Sabbath is a covenant sign between Yahweh and his people. Not with Yahweh and other people, but Yahweh and his people honor the Sabbath. So let us welcome the Shabbat.
Shabbat, a time that is all Shabbat, a yom that is ever shalom and will never, Yom Shekulo Shabbat. The golden glow of 2 lights escape the past and embrace tonight. Candle flicker at dusk vaguely reveals God's gift for us. The day will come, believe the day will come. The day will come, be sure the day will come. Yom Shekulo Shabbat, time that is all Shabbat, a yom that is ever shalom, never, never, Yom Shekulo Shabbat. Unto Adam was entrusted creation, and to his son, Shabbat is his kingdom. The day will come, believe the day will come. The day will come, be sure the day will come. Yom Shekulo Shabbat, a time that is all Shabbat, a yom that is ever shalom, never, never, Yom Shekulo Shabbat, a time that is all Shabbat, a yom that is ever shalom, never, never, Yom Shekulo Shabbat, a time that is all Shabbat. Shabbat.
forward to that day, the time that is all Shabbat. Let's pause for some prayer. Avenu Melkeinu, our Father, our King, we praise your set-apart name, Yahweh. We thank you for your invitation to your Sabbath day. We are here at your invitation, and may you be pleased with our presence. Please accept our praise, our worship, and the teachings that we do. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, in the name of Yeshua our Messiah, Amen. Our opening reading, this is a reminder of who, what we are, and what Yahweh expects from us. It's from Yeshayahu, Isaiah 58, 13 and 14. If you hold back your foot on Shabbat from pursuing your own interests on my set-apart day, if you call Shabbat a delight, Yahweh's set-apart day worth honoring, then honor it by not doing your usual things, or pursuing your interests, or speaking about them. If you do, you will find delight in Yahweh. I will make you ride on the heights of the land and feed you with the heritage of your ancestor Yaakov, for the mouth of Yahweh has spoken. Sealed deal. The shofar blessing is here to call us, wake us up, call us to action. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your commandments and calls us to hear the voice of the shofar. Amen. Larry's not here, so I get to do this. Blessing of our Messiah, Yahweh sent, one way and one way only. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yeshua. Amen. If you'd all please stand for the Shema.
Hearts toward Israel, even if you can't face it.
Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim, Yahweh is one. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom for all eternity. The Alef Tav, or and you shall love in English. And you shall love Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, and have these words which I command you this day be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you retire, and when you arise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and let them be frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Beyond me down the standing prayer, selected portions. The opening, Yahweh, open my lips, that my mouth may tell your glory. Refuah, healing and health. Again, we have Yahweh's attention. We are here at His command. He's ready to deal with us. Let us ask Him for His healing. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, and we shall be saved. For you are our praise, and bring complete recovery for all our ailments. May it be your will, Yahweh, my Elohim, and the Elohim of my forefathers, that you quickly send a complete recovery from heaven, spiritual healing and physical healing for
Alex Todd, AJ,
the names.
Martin,
Mary, don't forget Mary.
Jim,
There's more names. Think of others. Terry Graff. Among the other patients of Israel, for you are Elohim, King, the faithful and compassionate healer. Blessed are you, Yahweh, who heals the sick of his people, Israel. Kibbutz Galuyot, we are asking for the ingathering of the exiles. This is prayed at the wall 3 times a day. We're asking for us to return. Sound the great shofar for our freedom, and raise a standard to gather our exiles and gather us from the 4 corners of the earth. Blessed are you, Yahweh, who gathers the dispersed of his people, Israel. And we close with, may the expressions of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, Yahweh, my rock and my redeemer. May be seated. Stay over a minute. For those of you that want to read the full email, he has been healed completely, totally, and absolutely.
well, not how you think.
But it's not how we think. It's how Yahweh thinks. So Yahweh's taken her home. It is the traditions to say mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish is a common prayer it's a song of praise. It's very ancient, extremely ancient. And it is the tradition to say this. And we're going to just say it in the English.
It's not a prayer for the dead.
It's not a prayer for the dead. We're not praying to get them out of wherever or something like that. Okay, it's nothing along that line. It's a song of praise to Yahweh. Magnified and sanctified be his great name. Amen. In the world which he has created according to his will, may he establish his kingdom during your life and during your days, and during the life of the whole house of Israel, even swiftly and soon, and we say, Amen. Let his great name be blessed forever unto all eternity, and we say, Amen. Blessed and praised and glorified, exalted, extolled, and honored, magnified and lauded be the name of the set-apart one. Blessed is he, though he be high above all the blessings and songs, praise and consolations which are uttered in the world, and we say, Amen. We have scripture readings. It's time. It's time means Tree of life, excuse me. Quit working. The tree of life is scriptures. Yahweh's word, the very tree of life. So let's see what scriptures we got for this week. Now, in this particular week, there are there's two sets of readings, okay? Acharei mot, which means after the death of, and that's in Leviticus 16 through 18. And then the next set is kadoshim, which means set apart ones, and that's again in Vayikra 19 and 20. The Haftarah, the completion reading. Amos 9, and that's not the whole chapter, 7 through 15. And then Ezekiel or Yechezkel, which is 2 through 20, and 22, 1 through 19. There's good stuff there. Please read that, especially chapter 20. Actually, read the whole of chapter 20. You'll love it. Brit Hadashah is a continuation of the reading in Luke, all of chapter 2 and 3 and 4. Yep, that's a lot. The future restoration, the two trees, the two branches, the two witnesses. Hey, I have a message. Wow. Pardon me? Oh, I got to put the other hat on. That's okay. This is a series, again, a long series of messages on the restoration of all of Israel. It is the most important thing that we're looking for when Yahweh fixes it all. The restoration. Who is Israel? It is the 12 tribes of the sons of Jacob, physical people, and all of the sojourners or the foreigners, what's called Gerim, who joined themselves to Israel, just like Ruth. Read her little thing there in the beginning of it, and that's all you have to do to become an Israelite. Who are you? Are you Israel? Be Israel. That's who the covenant is made with. Yahweh, open our eyes that we might see wonders from your word. Okay, we're continuing. I might just well leave this here. We're always going to be continuing from last week. Upright Ostrich, part 13, Beresheet, or Beresheet, in the beginning. Very first words found in the Torah. The first line of the Torah. There is more meaning in that in Hebrew than you can glean out of it in the English. There's enough meaning there. The guy wrote a whole book on the first word. There's a lot of stuff. And this first line of Scripture tells us, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. That's according to the Scriptures. And if you happen to have a King James, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. 'Tis so, but it's more than that. This is the first two paragraphs of the Torah as seen in the scroll. Okay, this is it. Now, that whole first column of the Torah looks like what we see here. This is, a tikkun is a book. It's kind of used to find where your place is in the Torah scroll because there are no markings. This is exactly what it looks like in the scroll. That column, 42 lines, is just, those things are just repeated over and over again. See all the wonderful chapter and verse, oh, they're missing. There's no chapter and verse markings.
No vowels either.
There's no vowels. It can be hard to find something. So in ancient times, they didn't say go to Genesis 1:1. They said go to Beresheet. And that'd be the first line. First book is called Beresheet because the very first word is right there, Beresheet. You go to that paragraph. Yeshua, we did this once before. Yeshua said, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. He said, well, go to the line in the Torah scroll that says that. instead of saying a chapter and verse. Okay, that part, that is the Hebrew text as it appears in the scroll. And this here over here, on the other side, on the right-hand side, is the Hebrew text with the vowel markings and the trope. Trope is how it's canted, okay, or chanted. Canted is better. Chanted sounds something different. So it just gives us how we raise our voice and stuff, and I have no idea how trope works. But anyway, we've got all the vowel markings there, and it also gives us chapter, verse, and a bunch of other information that we can find in the scroll. Kind of is a cheat sheet, you might say. Or is that Cliff's Notes? Very first line of the Torah scroll, and this is exactly how it appears. Beresheet bara Elohim et ha-shemayim ve'et ha-aretz. The first line of the Torah is the very absolute rock bottom foundation of our faith. It is. It actually tells us everything. All of it. You cannot build a house starting with the attic. The house has to be built with a foundation, and the foundation better be solid. Yeshua said so in Matthew 7. Everybody reads that, get away from me, that those who are disobedient, those who are not, those who are Torah-lessness. Following that, he says, it's like the guy that built his house on a rock. The rains came and the sea did all this stuff, and it stayed solid because his rock was the foundation stone, was the Torah. Then the other guy built his house on the sand, which is trying to build from the roof down. This is what the first line looks like with all little vowel point things and stuff like that. Tells you how to pronounce it. It's easy, right? It really says, let's go back to that. It really says this. In beginning, first word, in beginning, created, second word, Elohim, and then there's a word et, Alef Tav, the heavens, and et, the earth. Now, the little et things are, that's another issue. The fourth word from the right, that'd be that et thing, is transliterated as et, sometimes eight. It is an aleph and a tav, look just like this right here. Somebody should be catching on. Okay, let's talk about the very first word. We'll get back to et in a little while, so calm down. The word Beresheet is simply translated as in the beginning in all of our books. And it should be. Otherwise, there'd be a whole other book attached to the first book. Beresheet. Let's break it down. Take it apart. The first letter is a bet or bet, kind of a B sound. Okay? The letter's larger than the others in the scroll. It's a tittle. Tittles are larger, smaller letters, sometimes just little marks or other pieces or parts of the words. It's something that's there. It's made larger. It's not an illumination thing put in the Torah scroll. You can find that in other books. It's telling us something important. And here's what it's telling us. Come on, you did it before. Okay. The Hebrew letter bet stands for bayit, which means house. In English, it's a house. I won't go there yet. We'll get there. So, bet equals bayit. The first letter produces the word house. It is telling us that Yahweh the Father willed that there be a house or a dwelling place, also called tabernacle, in the earth. The second two letters produce a Hebrew word, bar. The word bar means son. Thus, Yahweh the Father wanted to have a dwelling place or a tabernacle in the earth for his son. I'm not making this up. This is actual, for no kidding, Hebraic stuff. This is out of Talmud. This is out of the ancient sages' teachings way long ago. It ain't new. It's not something that appeared in the Messianic movement or something like that. Okay, this is what it means. And they know it. If we take the first two letters and the last two letters, and this, by the way, is allowed in Hebraic, the way they do things, we come up with the word Beresheet. The first letters, first two, and the last two produce Beresheet, which is covenant. Beresheet. Yahweh, the Father, will build a house for his son through a covenant. Furthermore, Yahweh will relate to his creation through the covenant. You are in the covenant or not in the covenant. It's really black and white, 1 and 0. Yes, no. Now, the Hebrew word Beresheet is actually a word with a prefix. Here's how Hebrew gets away with everything. You throw a prefix in the front, which makes it say things like and, for, thus, therefore. So when you read Paul's letters and you see all of the beginning of every sentence, and or therefore or for, he's writing it in Hebrew. And that is the prefix to all of the words that follow. So this word, Beresheet, the prefix says in the, wait a minute, where are we go? All right. Oops. Okay, I had that right. The bait means in, on, by, with, and sometimes for. So if I put that letter in front of pretty much any word, I'm saying in the, in this case it's in the Beresheet, in the beginning, that is how it's pronounced, or that's how it's translated. The sages, those old rabbis of old, concluded that the first word can also mean for the sake of. Go look up sake, for the sake of, or for the sake, in your Tanakh, your Old Testament. You're going to find that Yahweh does stuff or doesn't do stuff for the sake of, like his name. He could have wiped out Israel when they were in there and they did the little thing with the calf stuff, you know. He could have wiped them out. But for the sake of his name, and it says that in the text, he didn't do it. He was defending and protecting his name. Because everybody else out there would have said, ha ha, he can't even get them guys out of the wilderness, he had to kill them. He saved Israel, and he will bring Israel back together again for the sake of his name. That was at Ezekiel 20, by the way. So, the rabbis have concluded that the bet means for the sake of the beginning of everything. This guy Rashi, he's written a lot of stuff. He's an old 10th century, actually he's French sage. Therefore, the purpose of creation is that Yahweh the Father wanted to build a house for his son by making a covenant for the sake of the beginning, all in one word. That is the foundation of the whole of our scriptures. Oh, I just said that. The second word something that we don't see this. Now Hebrew syntax is kind of backwards from ours. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're familiar with how Yoda talks. Well, he was Hebrew, because that's the way he talks. So Beresheet, in the created Elohim, in the beginning created Elohim, is how that's exactly translated, but that's the way they speak. Noun before the verb, verb before the noun kind of a thing. Okay, that's the syntax. It's okay. It's not that Elohim was created. It's that he created. All right, don't get too excited. But that second word really is an important word. Bara is the word. Now, the three-letter root is the Bet, Resh, Aleph. Those three letters. Just drop all the vowels off of it, and that's it. So we can make it say a few other things by adding prefixes, suffixes. You're going to need to know that someday, because the second word is translated as created, but that's a really, really wimpy word. It's a wuss. It doesn't give us the entire thing of that creation. It can be, in English, we can use the word creator to something that an artist or a craftsman makes. Somebody created this here thing, that there thing, or that thing over there. It can even be used to describe a man and a woman creating a child. And it's legit in English. It ain't legit using bara for that phrase. Instead, we use another word for that meaning, yatsar, and all that means is kind of like made rather than the bara kind of create. A man and a woman yatsar a baby. A guy makes a thing. He yatsars that thing. Yahweh baras. Let's see what's next. Okay. Go to Yeshua at the wedding at Canaan or Canaan. There's the story. Okay, listen to the story. Now, one, his mom tells him something about, they're kind of like they're out of wine, and he says something like, "What is that to do with me, woman?" That's how it's translated. It's not. It conveys like, he's being a smart aleck to us Westerners. No, the terminology, the way the word is used in the Hebrew, it's an honor word. It's just like saying, "What is that to you or me, ma'am?" Or "Milady," if you will. "What is that to me, sir?" It's not negative, okay? Anyway, while he's doing this, he tells him what to do about the water, and you fill the jug up with water, and then they go taste it, and it's super wine. The best of the best of the best of the best wine. We are told Jesus turned water into wine. That really sounds like a magic act. It doesn't work. Yeshua created the fruit of the vine. At every single Pesach and at every Sabbath, when they bless the wine, they say, "Borei Peri Hagafen." Created, the bara, created the fruit of the vine. Yahweh is the only one who creates the fruit of a vine. All of those people there know that phrase. They know the blessing. It's ingrained. Kind of like one of them water tortures ingrained. It's part of their being. And they see what took place. They didn't see him turn water into wine. He created the fruit of the vine. Whoa, this is saying something about that man. Something that nobody has ever done. It's really powerful. All right, that was free. So the first line, in the beginning, Yahweh created, or Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And then we read at the end of the book, I am the Aleph and the Tav, beginning and the end, says Yahweh, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty. What's that got to do with the first line? The fourth word, et, Alef Tav, also pronounced eight. The two letters combined are the first letters, the Aleph, and the last letter, Tav, of the Hebrew alphabet. Now, Alef Tav is sitting in there. There's no reason. It's there for grammatical purposes. Hebrew grammar has to have this Alef Tav in front of proper names and proper nouns and stuff like that. I don't understand the whole grammar. It's just there. And Hebrew grammar, you accept it the way it is and don't argue. It's not a part of English grammar, so we ignore it. But it is in the line, in the beginning, Elohim created et, Alef Tav. All right, don't spiritualize Alef Tav and turn it into a galul, an idol. There is something within the Messianic movement that has taken Alef Tav and created something out of it. It isn't. Okay, just if you run into one of those books or something, that's what it's about. It is simple. The English word has no meaning. The sod meaning, the deepest meaning, is extremely deep. We could read the first verse as, in the beginning, Elohim created the Hebrew Aleph Bet. What he did was he created the Alef Tav, right there. Hey, come back. He created the Aleph and the Tav and all the letters in between. He creates his language. It's called Lashon HaKodesh. Okay. Kodesh means set apart, holy. Ha is a prefix that means the. Lashon means tongue. So remember, they do things Yoda style, kind of backwards. So it's tongue, the holy. Tongue, the set apart. That's how it gets translated. But it is the holy tongue, the set apart tongue. Yahweh then, as we read the rest of that Genesis 1, he speaks everything else into existence. Well, what did he use? King James English? Not even. He spoke it in the language he created in the first line. The very first line. As we continue to read, okay, we got that part already. He created the language, used the word. Didn't we say something about the word? John 1:1, in the beginning was the word. Okay, we got that part. And he used it to create everything. He created everything in accordance with his way of doing things. The first 7 days, there was stuff done on day 1. And it was called day 1, or first day. There was stuff done on day 2. And on day 3, and on day 4, on day 5, on day 6, there was stuff done on each of these days. And on the 7th day, what was it word? He rebooted. Now, I doubt seriously that he needs to rest physically. He's Elohim. But he did anyway. And we joined him because he created man the very end of the 6th day. First thing that Adam gets to do, Sabbath. Thus, if we change the Sabbath to any of those other days, it messes up creation. Creation is in that order. That's from who's holocrons? Okay, I thought it was Kabbalah. But that's from somebody, they made a nice little graphic, and they said, this is the order. This is the order out of the book, chapter 1, Genesis. It is no other way. No force that we can apply to it changes it. Yahweh never changes, which is really, really nice. However, this creates an extreme dilemma. That little teeny 2-letter word, Alef Tav, it really messes us up.
Okay.
Revelation 1:8 in King Jimmy says, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord. Again, I got to ask the question, which Lord? Which is and which was and which is to come, the Almighty. It's trying to tell me that at the beginning, that first line, Yahweh creates this thing, Alpha and Omega. Also in Revelation, towards the end of the book, the last chapter, by the way, he says, I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. King James is saying, actually there's 4 times in Revelation, that Alpha and Omega means the beginning and the last. The first, the last, the beginning, the end. Can't be. It don't work. I'm sorry. They're Greek letters. They are never and can never become Alef Tav, and they cannot be the true first and last. Some of the translations make it, I'm the A to the Z. That don't work either. It's the same problem. He has to be Alef Tav, because Yeshua creates everything. I think we need to talk about who Yeshua is according to Scripture next week. He is creator. We'll show you that. The book says so. If he is creator, if he is Alef Tav, therefore he's the beginning and he's the end. He's the Word. He was in the beginning. All these things all come together in our heads, and we come up with a thing that says, if we read King James, he's the Alpha and Omega. It doesn't even fit. Nowhere. So disregard those words, Alpha and Omega, and change them to Alef and Tav. You can do that because that's correct. That's a change in the book, by the way. There's something about make no changes to the book. Yahweh created the Alef Tav, the Hebrew language, at the very beginning. Yahweh spoke everything into existence with the Alef Tav. We saw that. We see it. The Alef Tav is the beginning and the end. It is, he is the first and the last. Closing comments. I'm not a person to tell you that God talked to me or something like that, because even though he does, I just don't say it. That's it. Driving down the hill, we live up on the mountain, we come down here. This hit me this morning. I've been working on this particular message for about a week and a half, trying to get everything together so that it flows smoothly and then I don't add extra burden upon everybody with a whole lot of other stuff. What's so important about this Alef Tav thing anyway? It's just words in the book. You know, where does it lead us? Well, this is what happened on the way down here this morning. The first thing in the Torah, first thing. The word thing means davar. Davar also means word. So the first word in the Scriptures is telling us the entirety of the whole word. In the beginning, Yahweh created at Alef Tav, and he created at the Shemayim. The Shemayim is the heavens. Never does it say heaven, it says heavens. And that's a whole other lesson in itself, come to think of it. That haaretz, the earth, the round ball thing that is not flat, the round ball. But it describes the whole word from that very line to the very last word in our books. That's what he's saying is in there. That's what hit me this morning. There's a divider page in almost all Bibles. And that divider page destroys the continuity of the word. I'm saying that out of me right now. I'm going to tell you, it's a destructor. It's a destroyer, and it completely destroys Yahweh's word, the Bible. The reordering of the books of the Tanakh, the Old Testament, also adds chaos. It confuses the continuity. You know what the reorder is? If you take a look at any English Bible, let's pick on King James, and look at the Old Testament and see the orders of those books, they're wrong. You got books called the Law, or history. Then you got poetry, and you got minor prophets and major prophets. No. The actual order is the Torah, the prophets, the writings. Yeshua confirmed that, and I don't have the scriptures handy at the moment. He said, from so-and-so onto so-and-so, you killed this prophet and that prophet, from the Torah to 2 Chronicles. That's the order. Malachi, or Malachi, is somewhere in the middle. He's the last book of the prophets, not the last book of the Old Testament. It doesn't work. Separating the whole word into a new part and an old part, and then reordering the books, creates a false word. It creates something that isn't. It should be, where was I here? Beresheet, the Alef and the Tav. That's first. Torah tells us Yahweh's commands, how we deal with him, how he deals with us. The end of the Old Testament in the King James is Malachi chapter 4. Does Malachi chapter 4 describe the end? No. And then we're stuck right after chapter 4 with this page, this piece of paper between a part that, well, that's God's Old Testament, and this is the New Testament. That page doesn't belong there. It disrupts the continuity. We should be able to flow through the proper order of the Old Testament into the New Testament continuously, smoothly. And when we get to that book called Revelation, it's the revelation of Yeshua, if I get that correct. That's the end. The end book tells us what the beginning book told us. The end from the beginning from the end. We've heard this before. Now, the end of the Jewish Bible isn't any better. It's 2 Chronicles, and that's where it ends. All of this ends. Well, it isn't the end. It fails. Because 2 Chronicles doesn't talk about the end. It's Chronicles. It talks about what happened. And it ends kind of like on a note of, this took place. That isn't the end. Remove the page of division. Reorder the Tanakh and the Brit Hadashah, and call them correctly. Brit Hadashah is renewed commandment, or the renewed covenant. Tanakh means Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, or Torah. Nevi'im means prophets, and Ketuvim means writings. Thus the whole word is restored. Oh, the books of Rav Shaul. The Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, second Luke. We call it Acts. Luke wrote 2 books. Hey, what'd you just do? The second book of the Acts is the second Luke, that's it. Those 5 are a story of Yeshua, complete and accurate, along with all of the people that followed him and continued after him. Then the letters of the apostles. And then Rav Shaul takes up the end of that. That's how it should be. because the apostles were with Yeshua. It's just the way it works out. And then at the very end, Gilanya, or the revelation of Yeshua. Now it's all restored. It all makes sense. It all flows from that to that. Water flows. It doesn't kind of stop in the middle and miraculously appear way down here someplace. A river flows. And it flows powerfully. By the time the Mississippi hits the Gulf, it is wide. And it is really moving a lot. Tracy, I'm going to use this. The Sabbath is a reboot. I'm going to use that is probably the most powerful statement I've heard all that study all week. And here's Tracy just comes up with that. One of the songs we sang, I lay in Zion, a precious cornerstone. I'm going to admit something because it's not going to be on. It's going to get edited out, all right?
Right.
I just looked at that first song that was on there, which was Awake, O Israel, and I threw that on the first one, and failed to realize that the three of them that I have listed, one of them has the extra song to it, which was the one I chose. It wasn't supposed to be there, according to my thinking. I am so happy Yahweh rethought, because the foundation stone was just what I talked about. The Alef and the Tav, foundation. There it is. And he is my defense, my rock. By the way, he is my defense was in honor of my friend Tom. For my previous statement about the last of the book, the last of Malachi, the last of the prophets, is not complete. But it does tell us just exactly what he said. Elijah's here. Is that us?
That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm getting. Is that what you were getting? If that's the case, our following the Torah, like being here and doing the stuff we're supposed to do, is what we're supposed to do. Wow. 1611. Or no.
16.
That's it. That's the one. Okay. Let's stand and do some blessings, okay? It's a big deal to bless our children. It's a wonderful deal. So yeah, you hold that little boy, you hold that little girl, because these are for them. For all of the sons, our sons, our grandsons, our sons-in-law, and our great-grandsons, Yisimcha Elohim Ephraim v'chim Nashe, may Elohim make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. And for the girls, Yisamek Elohim Kasara, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Verut, may Elohim make you as Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, and Ruth. Let's bless our meal. Hebrew stuff, okay? We got the Hebrew, our first Hebrew class. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei menei mezonot. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who creates all kinds of food. He baras all kinds of food. We had that in our message, yes. The Aaronic benediction. Please receive the name of Yahweh. Hold it in your hands. Hold it in your heart. Hold it in your mind. Yivarekaka Yahweh v'ishmereka. Yair Yahweh panavelecha v'kuneka. Yisa Yahweh panavelecha v'yasem lacha shalom. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. To
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.